In August of 2016, prolonged rainfall from an unpredictable storm resulted in catastrophic flooding in the state of Louisiana. In my city of Denham Springs, 90% of the homes received water, some 4,200 homes. Of those, 3,000 of these homes received 18 inches or more of water, 25 to 30 inches of rain in less than 72 hours. The Amite River, which cuts through the heart of Livingston Parish, crested at 46.2 feet, some 5 feet above its previously recorded record and some 17.2 feet above its flood stage at Denham Springs. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Local Leaders, the podcast. Of course, we are continuing our series on the 2016 flood. It has been a decade since that flood, and today joining me is someone who, he'll be the last person to tell you how integral he was in this flood. But in the Denham Springs area, I don't think we could have done it without him, and he will combat that, y'all. He's very humble. But I'm proud and happy to have my friend Mayor Gerard Landry on the show. And here's an interesting stat for you, Mayor. You are now my highest returning guest. This is your fourth appearance on Local Leaders.
So can we negotiate a contract?
Yeah, that's right. And so you've announced that this will be your last term as mayor. So I'm like, wow, he can come in and be a co-host anytime right here at Local Leaders, and we can sure have a lot of fun. But glad to have you on the show. Thank you for agreeing to come on.
Of course. And of course,
does it seem like 10 years?
No. Where did the time go?
I know.
Of course, we talk about 10 years and 12 years in office. Gosh, I'm going to be 74 years old in December.
Yeah.
Where did all those years go?
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
It really is. And, if you would have told me looking down the road at the water that day 10 years ago, I would have told you it's going to be a tough task to get back from this. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I remember vividly thinking that.
Sure.
What about you? What were your thoughts?
I feel the same way. WBRZ did a little interview about a week or so ago, and the state climatologist revamped his estimate of what the rain event was.
Yeah.
They talked about 1 in 1,000 years. Now they say it's a 1 in a 10,000 year event. That's hard to comprehend. But that was a lot of water in just 24 hours, and it's hard to beat. Now how do you handle it the best way you can, right?
That's right. That's right. And it's interesting. We knew some water was coming, but as a matter of fact, y'all were preparing for it, correct?
Yeah, typical rain event that happens or hurricanes. We all get together, all the department heads, and we progressed so far past this. What I'm getting ready to tell you, we'd all get together at the PD, and we'd all have this discussion. Make sure you have sandbags. Make sure you got sand. Make sure you got fuel, batteries, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, none of that stuff mattered.
Right.
Okay. But now that we've put into work that we don't, hopefully the next event, because there will be another one. What's it going to be? We don't know. But as a city, we're better prepared than we were at that time.
Yeah.
And we're proud of the work that we have done in all areas of managing the city.
Absolutely. And something I've always wanted to ask you. Now, I know it's hard to think back to just prior to that flood happening because of obviously the devastation and the total shift in your plans of what you were going to do for the city. You were in office for about a year and a half.
Correct. And
I'm sure maybe that, 2-3 days prior to that, you had a lot of plans that didn't relate to dealing with a 2016 flood. Do you remember maybe something that you were, okay, I'm going to start, this project, I'm going to start working on this project, and boy, did it get put on the back burner.
I can't tell you a specific project, but what I can tell you is just a year and a half into the job, right?
Yeah.
And coming out of the retail arena, there was a different mindset that I brought to the city operations. And not that Jimmy Durbin, which I love dearly, not that he was inefficient or whatever, but we just had a different focus.
Sure.
And mine was more on people and cost controls and that sort of thing. So we were a year and a half into GPS on all the vehicles that we had, limitations on take-home vehicles, and all the kinds of things that go into the operation of the city, and trying to save money where we could. Because Mayor Durbin told me, he said, you need to have about $2.5 million. And I hate to use a slush fund or a rainy day account, but you got to have some backup for a disaster. And after my first year, when we went into the flood, we had about $5 million. And thank God we did, because that's the only way you can recover, because FEMA is strictly a reimbursement process. So you write a check for $1 million to get something done, they give you back 90%.
Yeah.
And so thank goodness we had the funds to work with. So that was my biggest focus at that time, was just trying to be as efficient as we could and become the shining star that, hey, we're financially sound. Yeah,
and I think, thankfully, obviously, for that, because you bring up a good point that they don't just send you money. They reimburse you for the money you've spent, 90% or so. You did an interesting interview with Kieran Chawla that has aired prior to this airing, so I don't want to necessarily rehash what you talked about on that show, but I want to talk a little more about the recovery of the city. And one of the things you did was you went to Congress just shortly after this flood, and I want to talk about that for a minute. So when you were in Congress, you spoke to them primarily to voice your concerns in the way FEMA had responded initially to that flood, the way they were inconsistent was your terminology with the citizens at that time. They would tell them one thing, then they would say, oh, no, we've changed our mind, or you can't do that. And these citizens were coming to you. You were the mayor. You were the guy in their mind that could help them, and you were also the head guy in charge at that time, and you were getting strung along a little bit and weren't getting the proper answers, maybe a better way of saying it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to quote you in that. You said, to say I'm frustrated, disappointed, and angry is an understatement. Take me back to your feelings during that time.
When everybody's hurting, and you've gotten past the point of rescue. Now we're several months into the recovery process, and you see people that are continuing to hurt, and the ridiculous guidelines that we had to go and follow. I understand now after 10 years a little bit more about why the guidelines are there.
Sure.
That's a topic for another story, but FEMA does not have a good track record of how they present themselves and how they offer help.
Yeah.
I can remember a 90-year-old gentleman and his wife, and they were the recipients of the first FEMA trailer.
Yeah.
All he wanted to do was to serve his wife coffee one more morning.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't. And I was able to get them their home. My uncle, Hewitt Underwood, all he wanted to do was to be able to get back home and see his grandkids and great-grandkids. And he was a decorated veteran, and he had a dresser drawer that was in storage because he had time to evacuate, and he just wanted to get back. And the first thing he looked at was all of his medals that were in the top drawer, and that meant so much to him. It's the little things in life that really count.
Amen to that.
It's the big things, they're going to fall into place. But when FEMA comes in and there's a mixed bag of messages, everybody's going to have to elevate their homes. Oh, no, and everybody's not going to have to elevate. That's not the way to fix the problem.
Right.
The way to fix the problem is to work on drainage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was the mitigation piece of that, where I think it was 18 inches, if you got 18 inches or more of water, they were wanting to force you to either elevate or you wouldn't qualify for flood insurance if you rebuilt.
There was all kind of stuff that was out there. It was so difficult to navigate. And thank God for Gerard Grace and his work on the Hill to make sure that we had the voice that we needed up there.
And you just transitioned into my next conversation, which Garrett Graves, I distinctly remember two people fighting so hard, not only in Congress with Garrett Graves, but here locally with you. And, you kind of teamed up a little bit, and he seemed to be someone that was very integral to being your voice in Washington.
Yes, he was. He cared what we said. He cared what we thought. he cared about what our citizens were saying because they were his as well when you come right down to it, just at a different level, right?
Right.
If I take the mayor is where the railroad meets the road, and then everybody else is above that.
Yeah.
And so he was very cognizant of what we had to do. There was a day or two or three after the flood, or after the waters had receded, and we had already started to gut our home with church members and family members, kids, and everybody coming to help. And out of the blue, he calls me up. He said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing okay." He said, "I'm around the corner. Can I come by?" And I said, "Why don't you come by the house?" And so he came to my house, and the cabinets were gone. I mean, the house was just pretty much destroyed. And we had some chairs on the back porch, and we sat down on the back porch. And Marion said, "Garrett, would you like some coffee?" He said, "I'd love some coffee." So she goes inside. And everything above the counters was okay. So she got the coffee pot. She made coffee, and she brings us out on some fine china.
Yeah.
And he says, "Nowhere else but in South Louisiana, in the middle of a flood, would you get served coffee in fine china."
Amen.
But that's the only thing we had.
Yeah.
But but the fact that he came to my house just to talk and just to kind of make sure that I was okay.
Yeah.
Because every level has to be okay in order to work through this whole process.
It's an enormous amount of pressure.
It can be. Yeah.
And I can imagine I can only imagine the weight that comes with that, because you just brought up another good point that we'll touch on briefly, and that is you had 10,000 citizens, okay, that 3,000 something rooftops that have flooded. All of these people were looking at their leader, Mayor Gerard Landry, for answers, and at the same time, your own house flooded.
Sure.
And for 2 days, you were not with your family.
He's in the water. With boots. I didn't realize what happens to your toes after 2 days in rubber boots full of water.
Yeah.
It's painful.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
If you know, right?
Yeah.
And then, if you got any arrest at all, it was in the parking lot of Walgreens in your car.
Yeah.
Try to get catnaps and what have you. But, my biggest person that I want to thank is my wife. Because she called me and she said, "Baby doll, I got this at home. Church friends are here, family's here, they're helping me gut the house. You got 10,000 people looking to you." So I can't thank her enough for what she did to make sure that I was okay so I could serve the citizens.
Yeah, and we can't thank her enough.
Well, she's a special woman.
She is indeed. And I want to say one more thing about that congressional hearing, if you will, or committee meeting. And that was another quote that you said. You said, "Our citizens love our city, and I love my citizens, and I try to be their voice." Now, Mayor, if you can put that into words, what did the citizens of Denham Springs mean to you during that time?
These people were hurting, and I'd like to fix things.
Yeah.
I like to take care of people, and it's hard to see them suffer. For 2 or 3 days, we were just pulling people out of the water. They would come up on boats, and Cajun Navy, that was probably the beginning or the expansion of Cajun Navy. Yeah. And they were bringing people up to the water's edge. Now, the water's edge happened to be on Florida Boulevard,
right
in front of the old Hancock Bank building. But, and so, you take those people out, and they were so grateful. And I was getting calls from some people that we know. "Have you seen Mom and Daddy?" "No, I hadn't, but I'll keep an eye out." And I can remember one of our cousins called. She said, "Have you seen Mom and Daddy?" And I said, "No, but I'll keep an eye." And don't you know, they show up in their boat about 30 minutes later. And I called her back. I said, "I got your Mom and Daddy. They're in my car in the Albertsons parking lot." And she said, "I'm sending my husband."
Wow.
Now, I never saw him again. Well, I saw him again much, much later. But those are the little things that really count. And so many people afterwards, "Mayor, I know you don't remember me, but you pulled me out of the boat. I was on Florida Street, or I was on Range Avenue." And, that's stuff that I'll never forget.
Yeah. Someone said to me during this flood, there was a point where I was looking down my street, and I live in a one-street subdivision with cul-de-sac in the back, and 50 inches of water in there in most of the houses, all of the houses. And my neighbor walked up to me, one of my neighbors, and he says, "You all right?" Because I was just staring. And I said, I don't ever want to forget this. Because initially, my first thought was, this town is decimated. We're finished. And then something kicked in where I said, if I have anything to say about it, we're not going to be finished. I'm going to do everything I can to help people. And I was in the paint business at that time, and I knew, hey, they're going to have paint for them walls, because I'm going to call the owner of my company and say, we're going to sell it to them at cost. Mm-hmm. Anybody in Denham Springs, Livingston Parish, we're going to sell it to them at cost. And, my company, which is as frugal as they come, they know how to make profit. Let's just say that.
Okay.
But my company said, we'll do whatever we need to do to help, and made me proud to work for them. And we did. We helped a lot of people at least not have to worry about how much paint was going to cost them.
Sure.
And I was forever grateful for that. But there were so many people with that story. Now, you come back, and one thing I want to mention, President Trump, who was not President Trump then, he was candidate Trump.
That's correct.
At the Denham Springs High School and through the Antique District. Tell me about what that experience was like.
I was at the trailer. At this time, we had a trailer at the Walgreens parking lot that we were working out of. It was like a command center, if you will, because it had our radios and phones and everything that we needed to be able to operate. And I get a phone call. And I don't even remember who it was, but it was a male voice, and he said, President Trump is coming to Denham. He wants to see you at the high school. Now, he said see you, but it didn't dawn on me he wanted to see me. Okay.
Right.
And so you know what I do? I called Marion. The kids were at the house, and Robert Poole, my council member, who was invaluable through this whole process, was with me. And I said, Robert, let's go see Donald Trump. Okay, let's go. So we get in my car, and we go by the house and pick up Marion and the kids, and we take off to the school. There's nobody at the school except the principal.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So I see him over there, so I pull it right up to the door. And, hey, Mayor, how you doing? I said, fine. What are we doing? He said, Trump's coming to see me and you. Really?
How about that?
How about that, right? And so here comes this gentleman, cheap blue suit. Guess what? He's Secret Service.
Yeah.
And he's got a little earpiece on with a little called out thing down his neck,
Yeah.
He said, who are you? And I said, I'm Gerard Landry. I'm the mayor. Okay, you stand over here by the principal. Who are all these people? I said, my wife and my kids and Councilman Poole and some of my grandkids. Okay, behind the rope. So I said, all right, Marion, would you move the truck over for me? I'll sit here and wait, right? So I called Jeff, Jason Ard, the parish president. I'm late. Yeah. I'm sorry, late.
Yeah.
So I called both of them. I said, Trump's on his way. He said, yeah, we heard. And I said, okay. So they eventually show up, and they come up there with the principal and I, and the same Secret Service guy. He said, who are you? He said, I'm the sheriff. He said, get behind the rope. And who are you? He said, I'm the parish president. He said, behind the rope. So what in the world's going on, right? I figured that's who he really wanted to see.
Yeah.
But he came, had small entourage, and I think 2 vehicles. And he just wanted to say, I feel your pain. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You got it. You're going to make this. You're going to make the recovery. And it was just encouraging words, and it was good to see him. And then there was a photo ops that went along, and I think he went and helped pass water out some other places. But it was an honor to meet him.
Yeah.
And he's just as genuine, mild-mannered, him and Mike Pence both.
Yeah.
And so it was a good feeling.
Right.
The picture, I think you've seen that picture in my office.
I have.
And we all look kind of rough, but
well, it was a rough time.
It was.
But an amazing, unique experience in such a tragic time. And one of the things that when I think of Donald Trump, I think of he came down here, and he didn't have to.
That's right.
And he wasn't even president then, and all those things impressed me about him and kind of spoke to me about who he was, maybe.
Sure.
And so I just think that's an awesome experience. But eventually, you get through that aspect, and it's time for recovery. And I will imagine from a mayor perspective, one of the things that you had to deal with was, sadly, everybody's belongings are out on the sidewalks, right, and in their grass and in their yards. And I mean, I'm talking everything from pictures that you can't replace to computers that you can. And somebody's got to pick all that up. And how is navigating just the cleanup?
So FEMA comes in, and they've got their SMEs, their subject matter experts. I would challenge the word expert on some of these folks that I had to deal with. But they had the resources, they had the information that you had to deal with. And boy, the monumental task of picking all this stuff up, oh, my gosh. You've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
And they could roll down the street, and they had these great, big, huge trailers. they wouldn't even make it halfway down the street and be full and have to go to the dump and dispose of it and come back. And FEMA has so many regulations about what you can and can't do. And it was, we can't pick up this and we can't pick up that. It was a mess.
Yeah.
But there was a few FEMA employees in there that understood what happened, what has happened, and how there's always a way to get around something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing that you talk about the inconsistency. If you ever bring up this thing, well, you know what y'all did this in New Jersey. How come you're not going to do it here? Oh, okay. All right. We'll do it then.
Yeah.
And so I pulled that card quite a few times.
Good.
But because of some of the experts that we had working with us, they were able to feed me that information, and I was just a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Okay. And it worked out well.
Yeah. And I can remember, Mayor, when the water receded, everybody's going back in their homes and gutting. And you really didn't know at that time, I was hearing everything from don't touch nothing. FEMA has to look at it first to you need to gut your home but only cut it 4 feet and all, just all this conglomerate of information. We've all become experts now, right?
Sure.
If this ever happen again to any of us that are already here, knock on wood, it never does, but we're going to know what to do to start. And most people don't even have carpet anymore because we carried out so much of it during the flood, right?
Don't do that again, right?
No, I don't have a stitch of carpet in my house. It's all wood like ceramic tile, which is waterproof.
That's right. It won't buckle on you, right?
I don't have to worry about it. But aside from all that, it was a learning process for many, and you were at the helm of it. Denham Strong comes around.
So Denham Strong is fashioned after the FEMA program. It's called the National Disaster Recovery Framework.
Yeah.
And so it's a program that's laid out there for you if you choose to follow it. Miss Sandra Gunner, who was with the Office of Community Development with the state, came out to visit. She was such a sweetheart. And she says, you need to do this. You need to do this program, and you will reap the rewards in the end.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So let's do it. Gosh darn it, she was right, because we had this series of meetings. We had 3 different meetings, and it was a way for the input from the citizens guided us on what we needed to do. I use the story all the time. Look, you hired me to drive the bus, but the citizens are the GPS.
Yeah.
You tell me where you want to go. You tell me what you want to see. You tell me what you want me to do. And so I was told by some of my friends in Baton Rouge, man, if 20 or 30 people show up, you'll be fortunate. We had 800 people show up.
That's amazing.
And that's because the level of devastation and our people's commitment to our city. They wanted to stay here. They wanted to see where we are today.
Yeah.
And I think we've made some significant progress over these 10 years.
Absolutely. 100%. And as a mayor, you're in charge of so much, and one of those things is attracting business, because business generates tax dollars. Tax dollars are required to run your city, and sales tax dollars are the best dollars, right? And
I call it other people's money.
Yeah, other people's money. That's right. And so after something like this, what did you think about the business aspect of things? You would think a business may be scared off from building in the Denham Springs area or rebuilding their store in the Denham Springs area again because this happened.
People have brought that question up to me several times. And right off the top of my head, I can only think of one business that didn't come back.
Yeah.
Popeyes.
Yeah.
Huh. I still don't have a Popeyes. And I get frustrated because I have to go either to Watson or go to O'Neill Lane to get my fried chicken on Sunday after church. Okay.
Yeah. Popeyes, come back.
But the owner had like 100 stores, and this is just one he chose not to rebuild. And of course, CC's Coffee came in and took over, so it's a win. That was okay, right?
100%.
Our sales tax collections spiked right after the flood, as they should have, because everybody had to buy cars, furnishings, and all that sort of thing, right?
Campers,
It didn't matter where you bought your car because you paid the sales tax for your address.
Right.
And so there was a lot of cars bought. Home Depot, I mean, my goodness, their sales skyrocketed after building materials had to be.
Oh, yeah.
Furniture. All those sorts of things were phenomenal.
Dehumidifiers.
Right? Oh, my God. Yes, all that stuff we needed. But here's the interesting thing. Everybody's rebuilt and the cars have been bought. Our sales tax are continuing to climb.
Yeah.
And we're at record highs. So that means something about the city of Denham Springs and about our people.
Yeah.
And about people that are attracted to Denham Springs. Jubin is booming. You got Jubin Mall 1, 2, and 3 now.
Yeah.
It's phases, right? We're doing this other thing with the convention or conference center and a hotel, and that's going to have 60 acres of more retail.
Yes.
That we're planning on. So those are the kinds of things that help bring your city back. And I'm committed to that. I think I shared with you that one of the things I'm going to continue to do after I leave office, and New Year's Eve, by the way, is my last day.
Yeah.
So New Year's Eve has a new meaning for me this year.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stay on the DEMCO Business Development Center Board of Directors and try to maintain that flow of new people coming here. And what does it mean to do business in Denham? Because we are definitely business friendly.
100%. And, you got also right around where this new development is going to be built. The Cook Road extension has opened up. Wow. Yes. Is that a time saver?
Boy, it took what, 11, 12 years?
Yeah. Conceived in 2000. It was first talked about in 2006.
That's Richard Baker. Richard Baker was a congressman at the time that actually got the funds, and it was supposed to be for the Peace Highway interchange.
Yeah.
And then it was moved over to the Cook Road.
Yeah.
That's fine. All of them are needed.
All of them are needed.
And we'll continue to work towards to get the interchange. Well, somebody else will, but
yeah.
The Pete's Highway still needs an interchange there. I don't think we'll ever have one at 4-H Club Road. It's too close to the river and to the bridges over there. But there's other things. There's other traffic circles that we're trying to work on, and there's a lot of things that we have in the pipeline, mainly at the interstate here in Denham.
Yeah.
And so all that's going to help business as well.
Yeah. And 10 years post destruction beyond belief. I had it's actually my wife's cousin. Thank God, her and several of her husband and they brought their kids and, hey, we're going to help you gut and all these sort of things. Thank God for that. But I'll never forget when she drove down my street, and it's an interesting perspective because they're from Lafayette. Mm-hmm. She drove down my street, got to my house, and I mean, as soon as she steps out, she has tears in her eyes. And she said, I saw it on TV, but seeing it in person,
Totally different.
You said that in Congress. You said you got to come down here and you got to see it for yourself. Mm-hmm. If you weren't here, you will never fully grasp. It was like Kosovo. Mm-hmm. That's how I describe it. It's like a war zone. It was driving down and seeing people's lives in their front yard.
Mm-hmm. Lost everything that you owned.
Everything.
Kids come back, grandkids come back. Grammy, Papa, where's all my toys?
Yeah.
Where's the stuff that was in this closet? Yeah. It's gone. I remember Marion had a good friend that was one of the first ones that we knew that got her house redone, and she moved back in, and Marion called her and said, I know you're so excited. And she said, yes and no. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad I moved back in, but I feel like I'm living in a Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Because all my stuff's gone. Everything's new. Everything's fresh. Everything's painted. I just don't feel like I'm home yet.
Yeah.
And I guess at some point in time, you just have to accept it, and maybe the mind works and lets you forget about how it used to be, right?
Yeah.
So that you can go forward.
That's right.
Be happy.
That's right. And, there was a time, perfect transition there. You got beyond it, and at least a little bit. Do you remember how long it took from the flood to the time that you maybe sat down and said, I think we're going to be okay. I think this is kind of behind us.
I think probably yesterday or the day before.
Right.
I don't know that I will ever say we're done because there's too many things to do.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not necessarily flood related, but if you have your mind set on trying to make Denham Springs even better, there's things you can do every single day.
Yeah.
The new administration that comes in is going to have some different ideas, and I welcome that. It's the variety of ideas that all of us have. As long as we're concerned about the citizens and about the growth of the city and not to lose what our history is all about.
Yeah.
I love the history part of what we do.
Same.
We're working on Sprague Park right now to bring back
that
whole thing, which is something that's been sorely needed.
Yeah.
But you worry about dollars and cents and how do you get it funded. And you know what? We have a grant writer, and we get small grants here or there, and we just chip away at it. And finally, we've already spent probably this year, we're probably approaching $500,000 just on Spring Park.
Right.
we were able to get the Louisiana Watershed Initiative to demo the First Baptist Church site and get them a few dollars in their pockets. And now that site is going to be, the bell tower is still there.
Yeah.
And I made sure that stayed, and a local family donated a plaque that went on that brick wall.
Yep.
And then we've rehabbed the First Baptist Church Cemetery that was there since the late 1800s. All these things are historical in nature. But if you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going.
That's right.
Okay.
And you've got to appreciate that stuff. And, one thing I can tell all the listeners out there and viewers right now, I've done several of the mayor's tours personally in his car, and you've brought me around to these gems of the city that sometimes people don't take the time to, they just don't have the time to sit down and appreciate the historical aspect of the city of Denham Springs. And I've never seen someone prouder than you of your city and its history. And, there's a new mayor race coming up. I don't know who's going to win, who's going to lose, but I'll tell you this. I hope they have a heart for the city and the history of this city, and they understand how resilient these people are. I don't think I'm biased, but I don't think there's many people more resilient than right here at home, right?
I think you're exactly right. So we have so much to be grateful for in our city. We talked about all the historical places like the Springs and the First Baptist Church location, the First Baptist Church Cemetery. We did a story with John Pastorick and looked at the First Baptist Church, the new campus.
Yeah.
And so you got the old and the new, from before the flood and after the flood. It's so dynamic. The Denham Springs Housing Authority, the HUD project here in town, has been totally destroyed. Now it's the Denham Springs Housing Authority. We're going to do a ribbon cutting on that probably in a very few weeks.
Spring Park, right?
Spring Park is another big issue. People don't realize this either. Our downtown district, the antique district, do you realize that we have awards? It's probably 4 or 5 different awards for the quality of the retailers that we have down there in our downtown facilities. There was a tour bus that came through about 3 months ago, and it was a group of Main Street folks that came to have a convention in Port Allen, and they came to Denham Springs and had lunch at Le Chien.
Yeah.
They could have gone anywhere else that they wanted to go, but they wanted to come see. Next month, we have another tour, and it's 4 different states are coming to Baton Rouge, and it's about antique districts. It's about Center City. Where are they coming? They're coming back to Denham Springs for 4 different states now.
Yeah.
They're coming to Denham Springs to look at our downtown district. We have so much to be proud of what we have accomplished there.
Yeah, and
historical. Historical.
And shout out to Donna Jennings.
Yeah, does a great job managing Main Street, the Antique Merchants Association. That's a valuable piece of our history, and we can't let that go.
No.
We can do whatever you want to do something different, but you know what? Those shop owners are proud of what they have.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of them are so small they just support their hobby, but that's okay.
I love it.
I do. I love it too.
Yeah.
It's a key part, it's an integral part of our city, the historical aspect of what we have done since that time, because some of those buildings have dates on the front of them.
100%.
Some of them have these bronze plaques that we put on there a couple of years ago to identify them as historical places.
Yeah.
You can't just buy that. You can't recreate that.
No, you can't.
Decades and not centuries in the making.
Yeah.
And that's what we have here.
And a beautiful city hall. And if you live here and you've not toured our, I don't know if you call it historic city hall. Yes.
Yeah.
If you haven't toured that, so don't go to the real city hall and tour it. Let me clarify. They're different.
We have the old city hall, which is the one on Mattie Street. Then we have what we used to call Wet City Hall, which is the one on by River Road, Government Street, Government Drive, and that we lost during the flood.
Yeah.
And it has a nice pavilion there now that's available for the public to use.
Yes.
Municipal Oaks Pavilion is what it's called.
Yeah.
There's one similar to it at Spring Park. And now we have the new and improved City Hall.
Yes.
But it's also located on one of the highest pieces of property in the city because it didn't flood.
Yep.
It's historic in nature because it's been there for probably 60 or 70 years. It used to be a Livingston State Bank.
Yeah.
And then made transition to
Capital
One.
Yeah.
And that's who we ended up leasing it from for recovery and ended up buying it because I got it for a fire sale. We negotiated a really, really good deal. Spent some bucks, and guess what? It's paid for. It's surely serviceable. It's in the heart of town, and you've been through it.
Oh, yeah.
It's perfectly fine. It's not the Taj Mahal. It's City Hall.
It's City Hall, but I'll tell you, I've been in your office many times, and you have one of the best views of the city because you open up that window in the rear of that office, and there is our beautiful antique district.
Yeah, exactly. Right across from.
Can't beat that.
No, it's a reminder of what we're here for.
Amen to that.
Okay.
Let me ask you to wrap this up. It's been 10 years. A lot has changed. There's been so much positive change. You've, I'm sure, learned many things along the way. What would you say, or would you say, if you could go back and do it over, you would have done it? Is there anything you would have done differently during the flood relative to the reaction to it?
No. We just did what we thought was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever called me and said, boy, I wish you could have done this, or I wish you could have done that. People are, when you're genuine with people, they really treat you with respect, and I appreciate that. But I'm just plain old Gerard. I fuss at you all the time for calling me something other than right. So,
Mr. Mayor.
All right, Mr. Chapman. But it's the way that we present ourselves. It's the way that we work with each other. It's the way that we love each other. I think a lot of times after you and I get through a conversation, I say, "Love you, brother." Yeah. And there's some local pastors. I want Brother Johnson, who started the Pentecostal church. He always wore a three-piece suit. He was always so dressed up, and he was always so polite. And every time we talk, he'd say, "Mr. Mayor this and Mr. Mayor that." And I said, "Why don't you call me Gerard?" He said, "No, my daddy would kill me if he heard me call you Gerard." And I said, "Okay." But he was a very, very good man. But one of the things that he said that is just profound to me, and it's really simple: just be kind.
Yeah.
Just be kind. And that's all we really need. Just be kind.
Amen to that. One more thing, I would love to have you on, and we'll extend your record of appearances one more time, and we'll wait till it's about 30 days out from you leaving office. And I would love to just do a podcast where we took the listeners and the viewers on a journey of your historic time as Denham Springs mayor. I think, I've paid attention, and I know that you would never admit to it, but I always say this on every episode we've ever done. I believe it. God puts people in specific places at specific times for specific things, and sometimes we don't understand that. I don't know that there's many people out there that could have been in your position and performed the way you did. I hope you know how much of a difference you made to the citizens that you serve. You were the calming hand. You were someone that you could look at and at least felt like Gerard knows what he's doing. Even if you may be learning some things on the fly, but that's what we needed during that time. My shift in my mindset during this flood came when you spoke in front of Congress, and you were so passionate about that. And, when you're running for office and you win office and you do a great job, I think of two people personally that I respect. One, obviously, is Mayor Gerard Landry. Another is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who did a phenomenal job in Florida. And I bring that up because he's terming out. He can't run anymore. And I have went through my life back and forth on term limits. And I'm like, I like them because, it keeps someone from having power forever. And then I had a stage where I said, well, it's a voter's choice. And if they want to run forever and people want them in office forever, they can vote for that, and back and forth. Ron DeSantis is a good example of someone that if you had it your way and you lived in Florida, you would probably never ever want to lose him. He's done a phenomenal job there. He really has. I would say the other option to that is you age out. You just get to a point where you want to do some other things in life, and you want to spend time with your family and your wife, and that's where you're at. But I wish we could have kept you forever. And
I have a wonderful wife, and I have 7 children that are fantastic.
Yeah.
I have 13 grandbabies that are fabulous, and now we have 11 great grandbabies that beat every other grandbaby in the world.
Yeah.
So yes, we are aging out is a great way to put it.
Yeah, and I don't mean that in an insulting way by any means.
I don't take it that way.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, you just have to realize I've always tried to put family first, and it's God, family, and then work. That's just got to be your priorities.
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of being a workaholic, work too hard, but
I know that.
It's good.
Yeah.
Life is wonderful, and I want to be able to take some time to enjoy them.
Yeah.
And some of them need to know who great grandpa is.
Amen. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. No one deserves it more than you.
Love you guys.
Love you. And so that's going to wrap us up. I want to thank everyone for listening, supporting, share the show wherever you get it. We got some more episodes focused around the decade since the Great Flood of 2016. Until next time, I'm Jim Chapman, reminding you love your community, support local business, and keep leading. Thank you very much.